Hello everyone and welcome to Talking Business with me, Danny Pardoe. On this episode, I'm talking business with Annie. Now, Annie and I work together as part of my role at Kidderminster College and her role as account executive at the Herefordshire and Worcestershire Chamber of Commerce. So we'll be talking about what Annie does in that role, her career journey to get there, why businesses work together and how Annie helps that to happen. And we're also going to have a really honest and open discussion about Annie's challenges that she's faced with mental health, which I know you're going to find truly inspiring and hopefully helpful for you as well. So without further ado, let's talk business and more with Annie. Hello everyone and welcome to Talking Business with me, Danny Pardoe. We are talking to Annie today. Hello Annie, how you doing over there?
Yeah, really good. Thanks, Danny.
Thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate it. We're going to get stuck straight in. So I'm not going to tell anybody anything about you. I'm going to let you do that with our first question. So here we go. Let's talk business. Who is Annie?
Yeah, so obviously, as Danny said, my name's Annie. I've been working at the Hereford and Worcestershire Chamber of Commerce nearly 4 years in March, and it's been quite the whirlwind of a journey. Before that, I delved in different areas of jobs like working in debt recovery, selling car scales. I was a carer. I've been a nanny. The reason why I got the job for the chamber, it was someone I'd known had worked there, and they just dropped me a message. I wasn't really looking for anything. I thought, you know what, I'll just give it a shot. Wasn't expecting anything. Went for the interview, did a little bit of prep, of course, and she helped me out with a couple of things. And then the rest was history. I got the job, and yes, just
wow. And here you are.
Here I am.
Brilliant. So I have a feeling then that I'm going to learn a few things from this one. I mean, this conversation, this podcast came about when I came to visit you and you told me a little bit about kind of your career journey and how you got to where you are. And I thought everybody else needs to hear that. So now's the chance for everybody else to hear that. So let's go back to, say, 16, 17-year-old Annie. You're leaving school. What's happening in your life then? Are you at college? Are you thinking university? Are you doing apprenticeships? What are you doing around about 16, 17 years old?
Yes, so I went to the school in the Cotswolds, to kind of give you a bit of a background story, I was born in England, but my parents decided when my dad met my mum that he wanted to start up his own business, so we moved to Zimbabwe from me being 1 year old right up until the age of 9, and because of the safety reasons, I don't know if a lot of you know about the political side and just it's not it used to be called Rhodesia, so it's just not quite the same. And because my dad worked from home, it was very dangerous, and there was a couple of encounters and lots of different things happened. I could literally write a book about it. I almost have to pinch myself because wow. It's unbelievable the things that I had to go through, but they all make you stronger as a person, and what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, kind of thing. So I definitely learned a lot from that as a young age. And then because we didn't want to come back to England because of the weather, we moved to America, not on a green card, we just went on a whim. My mum was able to do like a Montessori teaching course and things. So we kind of went with that. But within the 2 years, again, lots of different things had happened. I was put into like elementary school, and because my parents had quite a rough relationship, I wasn't brought up in a happy family. So I'd gone through a lot of different trials and tribulations and slightly traumatic childhood. I did struggle. I struggled at school. I didn't like it at all. Lots of teachers told me that I couldn't, that I was going to struggle in life, that I wasn't going to be able to do things, like I'd only settle for this. And it was hard. It really affected my self-esteem and my confidence. And the reason why we had to come back to England, because my parents lost everything. They lost all the money. So we had to start from the bottom, basically. So I've experienced, having money to having no money and seeing it through their eyes. And because of their rough relationship, I really struggled with my mental health, and I was going through, puberty and adolescence and starting a different school. And I already had to sort of, start in year 7, where it was really difficult time because a lot of the kids had come from primary school and joined together with this slightly bigger school. and I didn't really know who I was, and I was going through my own stuff. And I suppose by the time I hit 15 or 16, I was miserable. I was so unhappy. I was very unwell mentally, and it was incredibly tough. And I guess the reason why I was able to push through, because I knew something in the bottom of my heart, I got this illness for a reason. So it kind of gave me a little bit of a purpose. I honestly thought I was invincible. I didn't think, I could, it was quite bad. I didn't get hospitalized or anything, but, I was close to, who knows what could have happened. I could have, died basically. So it was a very big wake up call, scared my parents a hell of a lot. And it kind of all, creates part of my identity and who I am and why I'm so strong now and why I was able to get through all this stuff. And so I didn't do so well in my GCSEs because I was struggling so much with my mental health. I just couldn't focus. And I just didn't have the right support. If a teacher came to me and had given me a little bit more time and understood a little things about me. And again, I didn't have friends. I was bullied quite badly. School was the absolute worst time of my life, definitely. But, I definitely learned a lot. I'm quite good at reflecting on things and learning different ways of, why certain people are the way they are, and just had to try to build a thicker skin. So all that I did, I went into sixth form, did the first year, because my school had it joined into sixth form, or you could go to college, or you could go to one of those high achiever academic schools. Obviously I wasn't going to go to those, and I had to repeat a couple of my GCSEs because I didn't get the grades. So I honestly didn't believe that I could do that well. So I tried sixth form, gave it a go. I dropped down to 3 subjects. I did media studies, English literature, and I think it was business studies was the third one. By the time the exams came, I failed everything. I literally got E's and U's. So the best option was, they said you could stay or I could go to college. So I went to Stratford College, and I did media studies. I just focused solely on that because I'm quite an analytical type of person. I'm very fascinated about storytelling. I used to write a lot of stories myself when I was younger. Very fascinated kind of being behind the scenes of why something, creating like an image and things. I was very interested to know. And we learned lots. And I also had a very big interest in psychology, but because of my grades, I wasn't able to, study psychology. So I kind of used it a little bit in my media studies. And again, not so good with the friends department. I just kind of had to push myself and just think, right, it's only 2 years. I was a year older than everyone else. And I came out with, I think it was 2 merits and a distinction. So that's kind of my journey at that point with school and things.
That's quite amazing. And thank you for being so open and honest about it. I know that the issues around mental health nowadays, how important it is to talk about it or seek help, whatever your help is, and whatever works for you on an individual basis is so important. And to hear your story really is quite inspiring, to think about where you are now and to be able to look back and reflect and talk about it so openly. And that's a credit to you and what you've been through and what you are achieving now. So thank you very much for sharing that. And it's really interesting as well to hear that, we get this presumption that everybody in nice jobs or jobs they enjoy are all straight A students from school and everything's been hunky-dory and they've never dropped out of college or never failed an exam in their life. And obviously that's not true, and you are proof of that in terms of what you're doing now. So thank you so much for sharing that. Kind of a quick question based around that. You said you had an interest in psychology. Is that because of your own history as well, or is that just something that's come separate? Did you want to understand a bit better what had been happening to you or what was happening to you? Was that a personal thing
that's where the passion had started, because I was susceptible to having depression, had eating disorders, all kinds of stuff. So I just wanted to know why it happened to me and how I could recover, and it took me years. I actually recovered last year, just before I got married. It took me, I got it when I was 12, and I, sort of 24, 25, started the whole recovery thing. So it's just I don't mind talking about it. I think that's important to share. I've always been an open book, and I think the reason why I was able to recover, and I'm still, at the chamber and doing things, it just goes to show that the more I told people that I was struggling and I needed support, the better, the quicker I was able to recover. And it was even to the point where I still didn't have many friends. I had my boyfriend who was very, supportive, and I shared that right from the very beginning. And I told his family, so everyone kind of knew what to expect. But I honestly didn't believe deep down that I could recover. Maybe there was like a small part of me that thought it was possible, but weirdly, COVID lockdown was the telling for me. It brought up all the traumas and difficult times I'd had, and it really brought it all to the forefront. And I thought, what, if I can't recover in this situation, when will I ever recover? And that's kind of how I started my whole journey. Took me 12 years, but then when I properly started focusing on it, it was like less than 7 months until I started to feel, like myself, and basically differentiate myself from having mental health issues and eating problems and all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to learn who I am. And to be honest, I have the chamber to thank for that as well, because when I was first working for them, I was quite shy, and I still struggled in my team, and I wasn't the most confident. And I pushed myself, and they gave me opportunities, and they said, do you want to do this or do you want to do that? And to be honest, I had to be pushed, because if someone just said, go and do this, I would have freaked and had a panic, because I've had a couple of panic attacks at the chamber, and not so like in, doing a presentation and things, but I always had a fear of it. Driving as well, I was a terrible driver. I got told I was never going to be able to drive. It took 6 times to pass my driving test, had 5 different driving instructors.
But you did it.
Yeah, I did. I guess I'm a bit of a goal setter now, and I guess it also links into psychology, because it does depend on what you believe in, and the mindset is really powerful. If you wake up believing that you're worthless or you have no, purpose in this life, then it's going to be really difficult to overcome that. And I'm not saying that I woke up every day and I thought I was amazing and I could do everything. I just took tiny little steps, wrote little goals. It was even just to meet a friend for a coffee. That was a goal I set, to learn about different hobbies. So it's very interesting. And I almost have to pinch myself now, because it's crazy how I was able to kind of, be so unhappy and think that everything, was going to be awful for me. And it's not the case. And obviously it's important to have people in your life. And I mean, my parents didn't really teach me a lot. And, I'm grateful for learning the lessons through them, because I don't know what my life would have been like without learning all the hard things I had to go through. But life is very interesting. It's a bit of a roller coaster ride, but the main message, and the reason why I wanted to, be a part of your podcast, because I want to let people know that if I can do it, you can do it. The possibilities are endless. There are lots of opportunities, but sometimes you have to be brave and accept rejection or the feeling of failure. And you do not need to be perfect. I'm certainly not perfect, and I never pretend that I am. And that's why I'm quite open about things that I'm going through. That's just kind of what I really want to let people know, that,
And thank you for doing that. And it's interesting, you said the word journey a few times there, and that's something I can really relate and resonate to, as I've gone through my own journey with depression as well. But the podcast is about you, so we're going to focus on yours. But, certainly the journey for me has been different to yours. Your journey has been unique, and everybody's journey is. And I think, again, that's a really tricky thing when you hear in the news and the media, and there's these 5 steps to saving yourself and helping yourself from depression, and it's just not that easy. There's too many individual unique things that have happened to people, and I'm not a therapist, a counselor, a psychologist, but everybody I've spoke to, we've all got our different journeys and our different ways of coping, and it's important, again, to hear yours, so that people can go, oh well, that's a little bit like mine, of certain things resonate, and that's really interesting to hear that. And thank you again for sharing it, being so open and honest, and also with people that you work with as well. I think we've gone past. Well, I'd like to think we've gone past the days of hiding it away. Although guilty as charged, I've done that. I presume maybe you have as well. But being open and honest really does change relationships and makes them stronger. From what I've seen, you know, and that's kind of what you do in your work, isn't it, with that relationship building? So, and what you know, what a story you're at now. So in terms of you know your day-to-day things, and you're able to. I don't know if cope is the right word. Is cope the right word, or challenge, or I don't know.
Yeah, just help them to achieve, you know, business objectives, understand the kind of purpose behind the business. I suppose because of my own journey of, you know, working out what works best for me, it's a bit like that. It's trial and error. And because I've been in this job nearly 4 years, I've learned so much, especially COVID as well, has really opened my eyes to different things that businesses have struggled with. And I am a problem solver. And I think this is I forgot to mention, this is very key of why I was able to kind of be where I am right now, in terms of like who I am and changing my mindset. I always find a solution to my problems. And I think that's helped. You know, sometimes members say, oh, I don't know if I see much value in this. And I really, you know, dig deep and find out what it actually is that's causing them not to want to continue, and try to share past businesses' experiences, and they've had the same kind of mindset. And I guess just being open and honest about it, and sharing and saying that you are paying for a service. So, you know, I need to understand what it is that is going to be of value to the business. And just like yourself, Danny, Kidderminster College, there's so much support and benefit out there, but it's been very difficult to engage. And as soon as you've come on board, I mean, who ever knew that I could even show up on a podcast? So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Yeah. And it's only been 6 weeks, hasn't it? So, you know, we're about 4 since I met you. So, I mean, that's pretty amazing. Who knows what the next 6 weeks are going to bring, let alone a year or two. I mean, I'm so excited. It's going to be great. I mean, you've mentioned chambers of commerce a few times here. I know that I've spoke to students before and they have no idea what a chambers of commerce is, or even businesses, to be perfectly honest. So what is the Chamber of Commerce, the Hereford and Worcestershire Chambers of Commerce? What do you do?
Yeah, so we're designed as a not-for-profit to support businesses. So you can be part of your local chamber. And we obviously work with the two, Herefordshire and Worcestershire, so the 2 counties. To be honest, when I went for the role, I had no idea what I was, you know, going to be involved in or how it would work. And it really is like working for a family. And yeah, I know all the different departments. So the main benefit for why businesses should join, or what it's all about, is supporting the business in every aspect, no matter how challenging, you know, the certain economy is, or if they're just a one-man band and they need extra support with HR and legal support, or with massive advocates for like health and well-being and mental health, because we've seen stats and figures that even myself, I never took time off work. But there were so many times that I wanted to leave because I felt I can't share this with someone. I felt so alone and isolated. And we don't want people to feel like that. I would never want someone to feel the way that I'd felt on my, you know, worst days. And just because it's a business doesn't mean that. I think society teaches us, especially with social media and everything, that we're almost like robots, that we don't cry, we don't experience emotions. You know, we can't show compassion for one another. And we also are guilty of pretending to be someone, you know, I'm sure you've heard of imposter syndrome, which can happen with businesses. And LinkedIn is great. And we're massive supporters of LinkedIn, and we share a lot of member stuff on LinkedIn because people are much more open-minded to different ideas and views. And we're trying to get away from kind of, you know, being so, can't think of the word, but not stereotypical, but corporate, I guess. We're trying to, you know, be a part of something a bit bigger, and supporting local communities. And we obviously work a lot with charities. So there's massive benefits, and we did have different packages. So I suppose I look after memberships that are sort of in the North Worcestershire area, but we have 2 other account execs who cover Hereford and the rest of Worcestershire. And once you join, you have someone dedicated to support you. so we can literally find funding for you, support you with your staff, sales, marketing. There's so much that the businesses can explore. And we will be showing a sort of a campaign about meeting your account execs and knowing a little bit about us and how we've supported businesses. And then you can put a face to a name as well, which is always really nice to do. So there's just massive gain and opportunity by joining the chamber, basically,
and give it that personal touch with what you do. I feel like I'm working more with you than I am the Chambers of Commerce, even though I am obviously working with the Chambers of Commerce. It's your employer, but it doesn't feel that, oh, I've got to call the Chambers up. It's like, oh, I'll call Annie up. That's how it feels from my end of things. And I think as well, what surprised me when I started working here at Kidderminster College was how much businesses work together. I know that in the theory in textbooks for business students or when you're studying, certainly like the level 2s and level 3s, we know B2B exists. We know businesses supply other businesses. We get all that. But the fact that they would actually communicate and network with each other and share ideas and potentially resources, and that you do that as well. You've sent me quite a few emails where you say, well, I know this person, I know this person. So, I mean, how important is that business-to-business relationship with what you do then?
Extremely important, because the more you talk to us and say what is going on in terms of the challenges or what you want to achieve, whether it's good news stories or you have an issue internally, there's always someone that's there to support. Even if I don't know the answer, I'll be able to find out the answer, because like I said, I think that's one of the key qualities I can bring to my role is problem solving. And I've had lots of experience around that, and there has been challenging times, but I'm sure that, I've got enough kind of feedback and support from members, being able to support them in ways that they hadn't really thought about. And being part of this role, it's so rewarding because I'm able to add my personality. I can share different skills and qualities with my other team members, because I'm kind of the longest one that's been there. And I also want to add, with me working with the chamber, which not a lot of people know about, but probably about like 7 months ago, there was an opportunity to apply for a role internally. It's not saying that I wanted the job, but it never hurts to push yourself. And I have a massive fear of public speaking. Well, I used to anyways. And I wrote it down as a goal that I wanted to achieve it within the year, and suddenly this opportunity popped up, so I was curious and I went for it, and I had to do a presentation in front of the CEO and director about this particular role, and obviously answer questions. And obviously I didn't get the role, but I think it's important to share that, because a lot of people share a lot of successes and they don't tell you kind of behind the scenes of what happened. And I'm proud of that. To be honest, when they told me I didn't get a job, I was like relieved, because it gave me the opportunity to kind of explore different avenues. And my main one was to overcome my fear of public speaking. I mean, it was really bad. I was scared I was going to have a panic attack, and none of these bad things happened because I worked it out in a way that was comfortable for me, but also I was able to push limits and boundaries. And I guess with public speaking, there's always this kind of, sort of way of doing it without basically, just talking. I mean, today I don't have a script, but I am quite passionate about what I've been through and how I've been in the role. But if you ask me a different subject, I would need some kind of cue card or note to kind of expand on it, because it's not something I'm 100% comfortable in. And I'm not afraid of sharing that. We're all human. We all learn from one another through other experiences. And that's really important to me. And so, if you feel that you need a cue card or you have to have a sheet of paper, as long as you're making eye contact and you share that bit of information, there's no harm. And so what if you make a mistake? A lot of times I was told, if you make a mistake, you're a failure. That's the end of the world for you. No one's ever going to respect you or appreciate you. And that's not true. I don't find that was the case. And I had to go through my own journey and, experiences of that. And I just wanted to share that, because I know a lot of people probably wouldn't. And that's what makes me me. And I am different to a lot of people my age. And, there's no shame in that at all. I don't think.
And I think you've hit on something that I know I've heard before and tried to get into my head that, you know, when you're on social media, especially as a younger person, I mean, I'm 42, so maybe I don't actually know what it's like for an 18-year-old, but certainly what I see on social media, it came down to a little quote I heard, that you're watching everybody's highlight reel while you're living your blooper reel. And I think that's the same for businesses. I know it's the same for individuals. You know, you're talking about you went for an interview and you didn't get it. Wait a minute, you didn't get it. Why would you tell anybody that? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you tell people you don't like public speaking? Of course you'd say, I love public speaking. But that's what I see that you're doing. You know, I'm not saying that you're not shouting about all your successes, but certainly being open and honest and saying, yeah, sometimes I mess up, sometimes these things happen, sometimes other people do something better than me, which is something I've come to happily admit, you know, because welcome to the world. And I think it's a shame that, you know, we do live our lives a little bit on social media, or some people do, and that you are watching people's highlight reels, but you're not seeing what else happened to them that day. You're not seeing what happened to them at work the last week with their manager or something. So I think that's really interesting to see. So focusing on you a little bit then, is there a day in the life for you at work? For an account manager, chambers of commerce, working with different businesses, do you log on at 9 o'clock, do a nice routine set of things, and then log off at 5 o'clock and go home? Is that what a day is for Annie?
Well, yeah, it can be quite flexible. So they sort of change the hours from 8:30 to 4:30. We can work from home up to 3 days a week, which is really nice. So you get that kind of, you know, you're in the team that you can have some banter with. And my team's great. It has gone through some trials and tribulations, like many things, and we formed really, you know, strong, close relationships. And yeah, I love my team. They're brilliant. So I think it helps to have that, especially within this type of role when you're dealing with businesses. And I'm going to be honest, not every conversation is rainbows and sprinkles. No, obviously not, because with business, there's money involved, there's stress, there's responsibility, and you can't always predict what other people are going to do, you know. So you need to be aware of that. You need to be, you know, sympathetic and empathetic. So kind of, I basically do my emails first, because I'm one of those that I really like to respond to my email within the day or the next day, if, you know, if I'm at a meeting or on annual leave or whatever. And I just try to make myself approachable and, you know, encourage them to contact me. And if I notice that a business kind of, as soon as a member joins, I'm very clear on kind of managing their expectation. And I say, look, so you've joined the chamber, you're interested in X, Y, and Z. Where do I fit in with this? Like, how can I support you? Did you want me to speak to you in a couple of weeks and kind of reassess, or if you've got any questions, and kind of build it from that way? And that has worked really well. And I think that's kind of why, you know, we are able to get so much with Kidderminster College now. We've got like a massive workshop thing looking like in January, which is really exciting. So I've never been a part of anything like that. And, you know, Kidderminster College has definitely raised their profile within the last 3 weeks, because the chamber's talking about them, and it's always interesting to know what's, you know, going on with them. And we can do that the same with your business. You just have to be, you know, proactive and let us know what's going on and how we can best support you, really.
Because you can only do so much, can't you, with regards to what you know and what you speak to a business. You know, you're not their marketing team or their admin team or anything, but any ideas that they have, they can come to you and get those out there. And thank you from me. I mean, it's an absolute pleasure to work with yourself for only literally, like you said, 3 or 4 weeks. But it's been fantastic to see what you do and the help that you've given us already. And I'd just like to say, I'm not being paid by the Chamber of Commerce or Annie to say all these things. This is actually genuine. Like, there's been quite a nice few links and opportunities from the chambers. And I think as well, you know, we pay you for a service. You provide an excellent service. And essentially that's how business works, isn't it? You know, to drill it down, you know, but the personal relationship there, and you are very good on your emails. I will vouch for that. Better than me. But no, that's really interesting to hear how, everything kind of comes together with the chambers there. So I guess as we get towards the end here, then what's next for you and the chambers? And please don't say you're leaving, because you're an amazing account manager. So what's next for you and the chambers then? Do you have plans for the next 6 months, 12 months, or is that hard to say considering the current COVID climate?
Well, the plan was to kind of explore different areas and sort of put on a bit more, in terms of events, but different style ones. So we normally do like a maximize your membership, which basically is a way of reintroducing the benefits and services, all for new employees that have joined the business, or new businesses that kind of want to understand what the chamber is, and kind of, it's an action plan of how it's going to support them, and they can have the visuals behind it as well, and they're not just talking to us through email or having a conversation on the phone. They get to meet different departments, but then we realized that something you do for a while, it's good to explore different ideas, and we always appreciate feedback from members, because we look after so many different sectors. We're not always going to know what it exactly is that's going to work best, especially using the example of the college is very different to a manufacturing business. You're going to have different needs and wants, and you need to let us know and give us ideas, and we're always open to trying different things. So yeah, we're hoping to do sort of like an event where we can kind of go to Redditch or Kidderminster, some of the areas that maybe not many people put events on, and kind of raise the profile that way, and do something a little bit different, have a speaker. But who knows with obviously the recent announcements. So there's lots of fun, exciting things. And then it gives me an opportunity to, again, because I don't love public speaking. I don't think I ever will. But the more you put yourself out there, and the more you kind of open to the idea, the more confident I'll become, and the better I'll be at my job. And that's obviously really important to me, because I suppose I talk about the chamber a lot, because it really has shaped who I am, and it's part of my identity. And I've never been as well mentally, touch wood, as I have been working for the chamber. None of the other jobs were able to support me. And I'm a massive believer of everything happens for a reason. So I don't know what could be around the corner, but no, I'm not going anywhere. I have an amazing team, and yeah, I'll just keep putting my name forward and going with opportunities. And if I get them, great. And if I don't, then I'll learn from it and reflect, and kind of go from there, really.
Fantastic. Well, you're an absolute credit to the chambers, and it's an absolute pleasure to work with you. And I can't wait to see what we all come up with in the new year as we progress forward. So I'm going to ask you one last question, if that's all right, which I haven't prepped you for, but that's how I roll with this. So if you could go back to, say, 17, 18-year-old Annie, and give Annie a little bit of advice that you wish maybe she took on as a bit of a mantra, or a bit of a motto for that point in your life, what advice would you give yourself?
Do you know what? It's funny you mentioned this, because not joking, a couple of days ago I reflected on it, and I'm quite a good listener, and I'm very much an observer, and I recently went to like an event, and it was just interesting to kind of see different perceptions and views of people. And I guess when I was 15 or 16, I was that classic person of, I want to be popular, I want to be liked, and you go to any lengths to get there, and it's not healthy. And I wish someone told me, and they saw a few people had made some comments and things, but I think it does come down to the honesty and vulnerability of people, because basically, when I'm kind of use the example of see the picture behind me, from a distance, it looks like, wow, that's amazing, that person's really talented. But if you get a magnifying glass and you start looking into different, details of it, you're going to spot maybe a little crack or a little bit that's out of line. And I wish I knew that when I was a teenager, that, just because you think something's perfect doesn't mean that it is, and doesn't mean that you should strive to be that. There's nothing wrong with being imperfectly perfect and having flaws and learning from them, because again, it makes us human. And it took me so long to believe that. And I still have to remind myself now when I see someone's highlight reel, or I see someone, doing something amazing or crazy, or you're always comparing yourself. And I guess, I'm supposed to be me. And I have to believe that there's a purpose. And the main purpose I get is supporting someone else and making them have value and seeing what their worth is. And I think that's why I fit this role quite well, because I'm always striving for businesses to be successful in their own way, and just, cheering them on, basically.
Well, you've certainly made an impact. You've certainly, myself personally, and no doubt for all the other businesses you work with, in terms of making their jobs easier and more enjoyable and more fulfilling. So thank you very much for that. And thank you so much for speaking to me. Really do appreciate it. I'm a little bit lost for words, so I guess I'll just say thank you and then think of something to record at the end. But in all seriousness, it's been really eye-opening for me, and I hope for everybody watching and listening as well, that they can take something away. And your honesty and openness is a true credit to you. So, Annie, thank you so much. Stay on the line just for a second, if that's all right, once I've stopped recording. But for now, I'll just say thank you very much for talking business, and I'll see you soon. There you go. Not much else for me to say or add to that, other than a thank you to Annie for her openness, her honesty, and the ability to inspire and motivate other people if you listened or watched to that. So thank you very much, Annie. Really do appreciate it. And thank you to everybody else who's liking, reviewing, subscribing and doing all of those good things. I really do appreciate it, because it really helps so that other people can find the podcast as well. Please say hi on all the social medias, and until next time, I'll say cheerio.